Imagine doing 6 things. Lying motionless on the ground, launching an NFT collection, painting water red, drawing unusual tarot cards with national symbols, finding the most shocking Google Maps locations, and creating a hymn without any musical instruments. What do they all have in common? All 6 are creative anti-war manifestos made in the last couple of months. It is them and other responses to Russia's ongoing war in Ukraine that we're going to discuss today. In part 2 of our Creative Anti-War Manifesto series. What's more, we won't stop at a list of the most significant cases. We'll also explore practical tips. What is special about creative manifestos that have the power to impact the world? Expect to have this question answered by the end of the video. Before we begin, make sure to watch part 1 of our Creative Anti-War Manifesto series. That way, you'll be able to decide whether the works of the past are now outdated or, on the contrary, capable of competing with current ones. And now, let's get started. Russia's ongoing war in Ukraine has motivated creatives and other enthusiasts all over the world to work on manifestos against war in a variety of forms. When you have a strong sense of empathy, it's quite challenging to keep on creating at such devastating times, but that's the best way to be helpful.
The ideal course of action is for everyone, apart from the people defending our country, to keep on doing what they're used to, and we shouldn't slow down. This is important to keep our mental health in check and to support our economy and culture. Yes, and culture. It's best for artists to keep creating and try not to get trapped in a state of shock.
One of the most recognized projects in recent months is a photo installation by French artist JR. An image of a 5-year-old Ukrainian girl, Valeria, was held by about 100 people in Lviv. The girl was forced to flee Ukraine with her mother. Her father and brother stayed in their home country. The project didn't stop after the first installation. It continues traveling around the world. But it's not just the installation that's spreading globally. It's also the notion of how brave the Ukrainian nation is. Inspired by this level of courage, the Ukrainian Office of the President, together with the government and Banda Creative Agency, started an international campaign, Brave Ukraine.
Bravery doesn't have a color. It has 2 colors.
For our Brave Ukraine campaign, we were contemplating about the message we wanted to spread for a long time, and in no way did we want to speak from a position of weakness, from the position of a victim. Because we went and bravely joined the battle. We are defending ourselves and fighting with determination. We are awesome. Bravery is kind of our national resource. And now we're going to export it to the entire world. We are the main exporter of courage in the world. That's cool. And while ordinary citizens and soldiers of Ukraine try to be an example of courage, Russian military forces show a different side to themselves. They have been reported to steal TVs, perfumes, coats, wine, carpets, and children's toys from apartments that Ukrainians had to flee during the occupation. In response to this, citizens of London brought the same goods to the Russian embassy in the UK. Many people are surprised or even shocked by the fact that during war, Russian soldiers loot small things, such as Nutella jars. Perhaps this next project could be the answer to that. Liberators' Hometowns shows the cities and villages Russian soldiers came from. The main issue here is not about them being poor, it's about their lack of desire to create and build. Another thing creators couldn't overlook is the amount of blood spread during the war. So one day, the lake in front of the Russian embassy in Lithuania became red, as a way to remind the world about war crimes. But paying attention to the situation isn't enough. It's even more important to call it what it truly is: war, not just conflict, and not a special operation. The word war sounds harsh, but so is reality. And as for the reality now, you can not only see, but also hear it. Creatives, together with musical production, made the anthem of true Russia. It is compiled from actual sounds from documentary videos in Ukraine. The sounds of war don't play without consequence. To draw attention to this fact, a series of symbolic actions were held in a number of world capitals. Participants would lie on the ground to commemorate the deaths and sufferings of Ukrainian people. And while the amount of pain among civilians and soldiers is huge, there's little sense to this war. A series of cartoons by Ukrainian artists Michel and Nicole Feldman highlights just that. All of the videos end with the question, Zachem, meaning what for? And there probably is no reasonable answer. What's different about the current response to war compared to the past is that it also harnesses the power of new technology. A number of NFT projects were created to spread awareness about what is happening in Ukraine and to collect donations for the army and NGOs. These projects have been initiated by Ukrainian government institutions and enthusiasts from Ukraine and all over the world. While they gather donations online, city councils showcase the support of Ukrainian people offline. Recently, the streets Russian embassies are located on in a number of capitals were renamed to Ukrainian Hero Street or Independent Ukraine Street. It's impossible to mention all the great works created in response to this war. In the comments section below, tell us about your favourite ones that we missed. After seeing all these works, is it likely that you also have an idea of your own in mind? What do you need for it to be heard globally? Here are some practical tips. This is one of the handwritten notes visitors left behind after viewing an exhibition about art during the Vietnam War. Creativity can impact the world, but what do you need to accomplish this? Here are the 8 ingredients to effective anti-war manifestos. If you have impact in mind, it is both content and distribution that count. The equation doesn't work with only one component. Think about how your creative manifesto can be spread across online media, TV, radio, print, and social media. Not every great idea is a great scalable idea. Next, the goal. When creating a manifesto, contemplate the action you would like your audience to take after viewing. The same way we are making this video, hoping it encourages you to create your own anti-war manifesto and support our channel. Then, think about your work in the same way entrepreneurs think about their startups during an elevator pitch. Here's a simple formula to help you with this. To fill in the blanks, you need to define your message, audience, desired emotion, goal, and form of the manifesto. By the way, there's a reason we mention emotions in the formula. Keep in mind that they speak way louder than plain facts. For example, when our job was to make the world close the sky above Ukraine, we created a lullaby. In it, a mother is singing to her child in a calm voice that if the sky isn't closed, we're going to die. You are going to die. So on one hand, the medium is really nice, warm and comforting. And on the other hand, the words in the lullaby. It's due to this contrast that it works, and it starts spreading. It's magic. Well, it's part of creativity, to turn facts into something emotional. One of the main laws of communication is that it's effective when it's frequent. To maintain your audience's attention when it comes to difficult topics, you need to translate it into everyday language.
The most promising messages and artistic approaches are those that have a sense of humour to them. I have this feeling that if only documentaries and realistic movies were released in cinemas now, and especially after the war, it's unlikely that anyone would It would be a horror no one would watch. It's too heavy. Humour offers a far easier way to convey an idea to broad audiences and stomach it ourselves. Also, what artists need to do is destroy the representation of divine power among rulers and tyrants. As if they are gods, they are just regular people. What's more, they are scared, with a bunch of insecurities, and just pathetic.
Moving on, let's talk about self-awareness. Why? Well, a project doesn't exist without you. So, it's great when the creative manifesto is built on your biggest strengths. Meaning, if you are good at writing, don't rush into NFT projects just because they are popular. I strongly believe that you can tell how passionate someone was while creating their work by simply looking at it. And in a great manifesto, in a great speech, you can always feel it. However, this doesn't mean that timing shouldn't be taken into account. Figuratively speaking, all powerful works of art breathe in the same rhythm as the era they were created in. And oftentimes, they even anticipate the future. And finally, visual appeal. You could say that as a library of stock images and videos, we are a bit biased on this question. Although true, there's more to it. The current world is one with visual communications, and to become viral and cause impact, your creative manifesto needs to ace at capturing the viewer's eyes. We hope you found these tips useful, but there is one thing left to say that's even more important. Throughout history, artists have written lines, blended colours, and performed symbolic actions to make the world pay attention to the inadmissibility of war. Their reflection of the times they lived in helped the contemporaries deal with horrific realities and provided future generations with a way to revisit the past. So, if you are a creative who wants to take a stance in global anti-war conversation, don't hesitate. The best way for an artist to be effective during war is by creating art. Thank you for spending your time with us. In the comments section below, tell us which creative manifestos were genius and which ones seemed controversial to you. We are saying our goodbyes for now, but if you want to see us again, just click the subscribe button and, as always, stay creative. See you.